Why absurdism is the most underrated philosophy. Absurdism is the belief that our universe is inherently chaotic, random, and with lack of meaning. But despite this, we as humans still try to find, create meaning in life. Absurdism was founded by a dude named Albert Camus, who happened to be a French-Algerian journalist, whatever that means, playwright, novelist, philosophical essayist, and Nobel laureate, basically an overall weapon when it came to books. Now, at first glance, this philosophy seems aggressively depressing. Hell, as a Catholic researching the topic, absurdism is an auto-existential crisis. But with a deeper look, you might realize that absurdism is one of the most empowering and freeing philosophies that can elevate your life and happiness, that anyone of any background, religious or not, can follow and apply to their lives. One of the most recognized quotes of Albert Camus is "One must imagine Sisyphus happy," which obviously draws from the myth of Sisyphus, the guy who pushes the rock up the mountain. Anyone who speaks about absurdism has to bring up Sisyphus. It's like how you can't understand Shakespeare without learning English, or learning about the civil rights movement without mentioning MLK's "I Have a Dream" speech. In order to fully understand the concept of absurdism, you must confront "One must imagine Sisyphus happy." Now, why the hell would Sisyphus be happy? Pushing a rock all day, every day, with no positives at all. You push and push and push, and that rock falls down? Fuck that. Like, the gods could have their way with me any which way. Pause. When faced with the utter meaningless in our lives, Camus sees three possible actions. First is suicide. Yeah, Albert's coming out swinging. Suicide is never the answer, obviously, and Albert agrees with that notion, claiming suicide to be cowardly and not a real revolt against absurdism. The second choice is picking a religion. Picking a religion, logically, it makes zero sense to do that. Being faced with the absurd contradicts any religious belief, and thus retreating to religions would require one to annihilate reason and essentially shut that part of your brain off, which Albert terms as philosophical suicide, which goes hard as shit. Interestingly, I don't agree with this term, as it doesn't speak on the actual religious believer, but we'll talk about that later. The third choice when facing the absurd is the only happy ending, to be honest with you. It allows the absurd and the man to coexist. This choice is accepting the absurd into your life, embracing it, and then continuing to live your life. Embracing the absurd is seen as the true path to revolting against your absurd and meaningless life. What is revolt? Well, use your brain, buddy. You know what revolt means. In the context of absurdism, revolt is a spirit of defiance in the face of absurdism. What is the spirit of defiance in the face of absurdism? Any more questions? Anything else? No? Okay. Well, my curious friend, the third option we spoke about before is the gleaming example of revolt. To embrace the absurdity and meaningless in one's life, and to continue living and attacking that life to the best of your ability. Revolt is an essential companion to a life of absurdism and absurdism in general. It's the alternative to physical and philosophical suicide. Revolt makes it plausible to imagine Sisyphus happy, if life is meaningless and unknowable as it is in Sisyphus's life. Then how absurd would it be to try and apply meaning to that life? However, revolting against the absurd and pushing that rock day by day with no reward nor recognition, and doing it with acceptance and even aggressiveness in the face of meaningless, one must imagine Sisyphus happy and fulfilled. He would not let the absurd have an effect on his life. Now, as a Catholic myself, I could understand how absurdism might deter some people. And while I must admit there is some tension between absurdism and religion, this tension can be alleviated by some logical thinking. Firstly, the deterrence I'm talking about is the claim that the universe is meaningless and chaotic. A religious believer could take these claims as a complete confrontation of one's beliefs, which commonly entails the belief in a fate or plan from God. However, in absurdism, one of the universe's traits is an unknowing nature. Unknowing is the word to key on here for religious believers. God works in mysterious ways, people say, and that's putting it lightly. We have no idea what God's true plans may be. No clue. For all I know, God's plan for me was to give a pencil to my friend in the first grade, and now I'm just floating around doing side quests. I have faith that wasn't his plan for me, but I truly do not know, and neither does anyone else. It's absurd, wink wink, to believe that you have some sort of knowledge of your fate. Most religions understand this, and that's why we have faith rather than visions. Once you accept that you will never truly grasp God's plan for you, then you truly, inadvertently, face the absurd. Absurdism in real-life application can be described as just simply loving life, despite being aware of the meaningless or incomprehensive nature of life. Loving it and having an appreciation for all aspects of life. The joy, staleness, and suffering that life entails can be appreciated in some way. And this, my friends, is how you improve your life with absurdism. Because why would anything affect someone who has faced and accepted the nothingness and continues to live life with a smile on their face? That person would be a fortress of strength and joy. The reason I love this philosophical idea so much is because of the absurdity the idea has itself. Depression, for example, as a state of mind, has beliefs that are completely in line with the beliefs of the absurdist, with the only difference being the way in which one goes forward when faced with the absurd. How easy is it to let yourself fall into meaningless? It's easy to the point that it almost feels as if there's no other option. However, absurdism provides that other option, an option that gives back your autonomy and strength. I think applying some form of absurdist thinking in your everyday life will improve your resilience and ability to keep pushing forward, skills which are extremely important in any aspect of life. Next time you're at work, completely hating your life, understand that hating your life is actually beautiful and has little impact on anything in the world. And then finish your work, not because you want to, but because you don't want to. And because you understand that experiencing and appreciating the negatives in life and proceeding forward is your way to revolt against your absurd and meaningless life. When you're at a party with your friends and you finally muster up the courage to approach a girl, and that girl laughs in your face in front of everyone, first wipe your tears in the bathroom, then understand that this embarrassment and shame you feel is not unique nor meaningful, and in fact beneficial to your life experience. Shit, the fact that you approached a girl in the first place is nuts, dude. Be proud of yourself, and understand that even though you might be ugly, you can still appreciate your shame and embarrassment, and most importantly, continue forward, indirectly revolting against the absurdism in your life. Whether you're a believer or an atheist, absurdism is a life philosophy in reach for you. It will alleviate the existential dread of fate or meaning and allow you to begin living life with the grace of appreciating the good with the bad, revolting against your inability to know anything. Absurdism is very underrated and not talked about much in the modern day. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.